Hello, I have my girlfriend here with me. I helped her choose her first commander deck, and we built it together. I helped her, of course, but also she chose her own theme, and she chose her first commander. Could you?
Yeah, so I didn't really know Magic at all until we met. I knew it existed, but then we started playing it together with practice decks. I actually kind of liked it, but it wasn't my deck, because it's a practice deck.
Yeah, so we got the challenger decks that were pre-built, so they would be a fun game, even though it might be a little bit complicated to start with. But
yeah, and
you pulled through.
Yeah, I pulled through, and you kind of taught me how to play, so and I really enjoyed it. And I really like the art because you have a lot of cards, obviously, and you showed me some, and we unpacked some packs together. Yeah. And there were some cards I thought were really nice. I was like, oh, if I were to have my own deck, I would definitely choose like that.
Yeah.
So when we started playing with the practice decks after that, I kind of figured like maybe I would like to have my own deck. Would be nice.
Yeah, exactly. And you also said, I think, that you wanted 2 colors in particular.
Yeah, at first I thought red was my first thought. Because the practice deck that we chose for me to play with and to kind of learn was red. And you had the blue deck. And I kind of figured I'm not that much of a strategist. Also because I'm just learning the hang of the game.
It's more fun to be aggressive.
Yeah, it's more fun to be aggressive, and especially not having to think 20 steps ahead like you do with the blue practice deck, kind of a little bit. So I really liked that, and then on top of that I really liked the theme around the green color, because I think it's all about nature, and I also really like the cards. They're really pretty.
Yeah, so you had the green sleeves card and you said that this is what I want.
Yeah, I really like that. So at first I thought green, red, kind of a combination of that. So yeah, that's where we started.
Yeah, true. And then I think, so we started talking about Commander. It is a hard way to play because Commander features a lot of cards that are really high powered and have a lot of words on them. But you said I want a Commander deck.
Yep.
Anyways, okay. And then I picked a few options for you. But we quickly came to the conclusion that red and green, the colors, were not enough. So we chose the white color with it because you will have a bit of a stronger deck in that way.
Yep.
And then we had a few options. How did you get to pick your option?
Okay, so you kind of had a few suggestions, like you said, a few commander cards and kind of explaining what they do, and then you showed me Atla Palani.
Yeah. And
I just instantly thought you explained what she does as a commander. First of all, I really liked the art, and I thought she was pretty cool. But then the whole thing with the eggs and stuff, which we're gonna get into later probably, I thought was so cool because I like a bit of an element of surprise and kind of the randomness of it all. So it was not really I didn't need a lot of time to think about which one I wanted to choose as my commander. It was just
you said I want to think about it, but you already knew.
I already knew. I'd already made up my mind. Yeah, I just wanted to consider it respectfully like the other cards, but I already knew it was gonna be Atla.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's a very good way to choose your first commander. Just see what seems fun to you. I would recommend first starting with a few practice games anyways, even though it isn't with your own deck. It's still nice to know and to learn what is fun to you. You immediately knew this red deck that is aggressive is way more fun to me. And then go from there and see what other formats there are and see if you like those.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we did really well in conclusion.
I think so too. Yeah, I'm just so excited to play and just to see the deck and all the cards and of course the art. It's really important to me too.
Yeah, we can choose that later as well. But yeah, let's look at the deck together.
So excited.
Architect, you can also choose your themes, your categories, what they are called. So here you see my categories that I chose. So Atla, there are some very clear themes about Atla Palani. One thing is that she wants to create eggs, so you knew that already. She has to tap to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a way to tap her multiple times, then that is very strong as well, because then you can make multiple eggs as well.
Mm-hmm.
One other way to make multiple eggs is to double your tokens. In Magic the Gathering, that's a very popular mechanic. And then whenever an egg you control dies, you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card, and you put that card onto the battlefield, so you don't have to pay any mana cost for it. So that's why we have our first theme, which is big creatures. We have a lot of big creatures in this deck because we want to get them out of the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get such a big creature, we want them to almost win us the game immediately. So I have chosen the most splashy big creatures to get onto the battlefield, and we'll get into the cards themselves later. But that is one of the themes. Of course, you need lands, so that's another theme.
Mm-hmm.
We have card draw. That's something that's necessary. I think you found something like that in your research as well.
Mm-hmm.
That card draw is really necessary, and there are multiple themes like this that you really need in your decks. So card draw is one of the themes. Then I have this theme I call egg.
Just egg.
It's either literally an egg. This is one from the newest set that you have seen as well. Dinosaur egg.
So that's not like a token, like an egg token?
No.
It's like an actual creature.
It's an actual creature that is an egg as well.
Okay.
But if this one dies, it also counts as an egg for Atla Palani. So it doesn't matter if it is an egg from one of her tokens.
Mm-hmm.
It can also be an egg, another egg, because she says whenever an egg you control dies, you get to reveal the cards. So it doesn't matter. This is one you found, I think, Harmonic Prodigy, a very good one. I think a lot of the decks run this one. A must run, I would say. If an ability of a shaman or another wizard you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. So that's another way to double tokens, what I said before. Also means an extra egg. And then the last sub-theme here is, for example, Maskwood Nexus, which says, creatures you control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells, blah blah blah. But the most important part here is, creatures you control are every creature type.
Could you explain that? It's a bit...
Yeah, so that means that every creature you control is every creature type, which includes the creature type egg. Yeah, so that means that every creature you control is an egg.
Okay, so for every creature that dies, I get
to cycle through your deck again until someone removes the Maskwood Nexus, which is an artifact.
Oh my god, okay.
So
cool.
It will be hard to remove, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it is expensive because a lot of other decks run it, but I found this one too important to pass up here.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have another theme which is called Giving Haste. So for example, we have Rhythm of the Wild here, which says non-token creatures you control have Riot, which means that they can enter the battlefield with haste. Mm-hmm. So that means, for example, if you play your commander, you can immediately top it. So that's the most important part.
Okay.
Also, you will have a lot of big creatures that enter the battlefield, and some of them want to attack. We need to give them haste as well. Okay.
All right.
Then there is a really small sub-theme, but I didn't really find many more creatures or abilities that helped in the protection part. But Gerard was one card that really helped. So it will help you protect your cards. Mm-hmm. Then there's Populate, which is a mechanic that says... so Populate says, to populate, create a token that's a copy of a creature token you control. So you could copy one of your eggs. So that's another way to get eggs.
Okay. It's going to be an egg overload.
We need that. We need a lot of eggs.
It's going to be so much fun.
We have reducing activation cost. That is not something that happens a lot in your colors. So Naya colors, red, white and green, don't really have a lot of reducing your activation cost.
Yeah, and I saw that they are quite expensive, like the legendary creatures. I think they cost a lot of mana.
Yeah, that do that, you mean? Or the legendary creatures.
Yeah, they're just quite expensive, right?
Yeah. but this one is just 2 mana. Agatha of the Foul Cauldron. She says activated abilities of creatures you control cost X less to activate, where X is her power. So that means you can at least reduce it by 1. And I think at most reduce it by 1 as well. Because she does say this effect can't reduce to the mana and that costs to less than 1 mana. So it needs to still cost 1 mana. So you play Agatha and then the cost only will be 1. So it's enough if you have Agatha out. It's basically what it says.
Okay.
But that's a significant cost reduction here. Then we have Redundancy. This is a theme I always have.
That one's so pretty.
Elvish Piper, yeah. So the thing is, you will draw a lot of cards as well, and then you will have a lot of expensive cards in your hand. We need a sort of fail-safe for this. So for example, Elvish Piper says, for 1 green mana, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield immediately.
Okay.
So if you have such an expensive card in your hand, you can play it easily with Elvish Piper. Definitely if it has haste, it will just be 5 mana for your big creature.
And it can be any creature?
Yeah, any creature.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be a green one. So it can be any color then?
Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly. Then we have Removal, which is just in every deck as well. We have Mana Rocks, which I just put a lot of ramp in. So that's often it's just a lot of artifacts that make mana, but it can also in my case be cards like Cultivate, which say get more lands, so that's another way to ramp. Then we have Board Wipes, so those will kill your opponent's whole boards. And we have a theme I call Sack the Egg, which say, for example, this one is one you found, Skull Clamp, which says your creature gets -1 toughness, so they die. And that means that you get the cycle, and in this case, draw 2 cards. But there are a lot of more examples like Goblin Bombardment, which say at any time you may sacrifice a creature, which is the most important part to you.
And then I could just sacrifice the tokens.
Yeah, an egg and get your creatures out, because otherwise there's no way to kill your eggs.
Okay.
So you need ways to kill your eggs, so that you can.
So that's why there are so many
them.
of them in the Sack Egg.
Yeah, Sack Egg is a big theme, but actually the 2 main or the 3 main themes that you need in this deck are making eggs, sacrificing your eggs or killing your eggs, and then the big creatures that come out of the eggs. That's the whole plan. Make eggs, sacrifice them, and get really big creatures out of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like roulette as well, because you're never gonna know which creature you're gonna get.
You could get a new egg.
It's like Secret Santa every time.
Yeah. Okay. So the next theme is making eggs or populating them. So populate you have just seen. It just does what it does. So it's an effect on a card. And you also get to double a token. So that means you get another egg if you have another egg on the battlefield.
Okay.
Also works on other tokens, of course. But very important, I think, is we have some cards like Dinosaur Egg that is just an egg. This one also says when it dies, you may discover eggs. You have learned what discover is before, but it says that you get to get cards from your exile cards from the top of your library, and if you find a card with converted mana cost less than, in this case, the toughness of this egg, you get to put it onto the battlefield, basically.
Okay.
Or play it. So that's what it means, and it also says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it has greater power or toughness than this creature, you may put a +1 counter on this creature. So you also get to make this egg stronger and stronger. And this one can attack, it doesn't have defender.
Just throwing the eggs at people.
Yeah, this one can attack, so they have to watch out for it. Cool. Also the art is cute, people are painting the egg, so that's important as well. And of course it works with your commander.
Yeah.
We have more eggs, this dragon egg, which when it dies creates a 2/2 red dragon with flying. And it is an egg, so that's also still important. And then we have the nesting dragon, which makes eggs. So whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a dragon egg. So you create literally the card we just saw whenever you play a land. So that's also good. And it is a 5 mana 5/4 with flying, so it also comes in the big creature category in this case. Yeah, you have a question?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if I use this one, like
The
the nesting
nesting
dragon, and I create a dragon egg, like a 0/2, that also counts for the whole Atla of it all.
Yeah.
Like revealing another creature.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool.
So because it is an egg as well.
It's
this one
amazing.
also makes eggs. So it is Palani's Hatcher, 5 mana for a 5/3. Also gives your dinosaurs haste. We have a few.
Is that connected to like Atlas?
Atla Palani, yeah.
Ah.
So it's also really a flavor win. It's from the new set, Ixalan set. So when it ends the battlefield, you create 2 eggs. So we are also already satisfied. And then at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 1 or more eggs, you may sacrifice an egg and create a 3/3. So it also helps to sacrifice the eggs. So it does multiple things. Making the eggs, so it also gives you 2 new creatures.
Yeah, so
basically,
if the egg gets sacrificed, you get the 3/3 token.
You get the 3/3.
The creature from the previous egg.
Yeah, so there are 2. It's like a.
Yeah. Okay.
What to say? It's 2 children from 1 egg. Yeah.
2 birds
exactly.
with 1 stone.
2 births with 1 stone. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So also I said before that tapping works because our commander needs to tap to make an egg. This one says, so Sting, the glinting dagger, says, at the beginning of each combat, untap equipped creature. So on every turn, also from your opponents, you get to untap Atla Palani, and then you can tap it for a new egg again. So that's really good. We had Maskwood Nexus, which said everything is an egg. So that is really good for us.
Yeah.
We have Harmonic Prodigy, which doubles the ability from our commander, so that's also a doubler here.
Gonna need so many token cards.
Yeah, at least 20. Now I don't know. If you have, I think you already win. We have Battle Mage's Bracers, which is a 3 mana equipment that gives a creature haste. But then also, whenever an ability of equipped creature is activated, you may pay 1 more mana, and if you do, you copy that ability.
Okay.
So you can again copy the ability. Then we have Rootborn Defenses, which says populate. So we double the egg token, and you get to give all your creatures indestructible. So that is an extra way to double your eggs. We have Life Finds a Way for 3 mana. Whenever a non-token creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield, you populate.
That's so many, because all of them are more than 4 creatures.
All your big creatures
4 mana.
Also give you a new egg. If you can keep sacrificing them, you keep cycling as long as you get a big creature every time. We have the last one, the 3 Blind Mice, which says for 3 mana you create a 1/1 white mouse. But then on the next turn, you get to create a token that's a copy of target creature token you control, so an egg. And then the 3rd turn, you do the same thing. You make another egg. And then you give your creatures +1/+1 and vigilance. But you have the 2 blind eggs, because they also can see. Exactly. Let's get through the big creatures that I chose first, and then all the other cards, card by card.
I already love it. Okay, so I told you, right, that I kind of want to go for flavor and like cute cards.
Yeah, so
And
Atla
pretty
Palani, of course, is someone who tends the eggs, and you like the cute flavor. So I think this one mostly fits because of that. Averbrock Caretaker. It's a 6 mana card, so usually you don't really play this, but it gives all of your creatures 2/+1 counters, so it grows your creatures.
Does it go for just the creatures and then the creature, the egg tokens too? So
you could choose them. So in this case, you put 2/+1 counters on 1 target creature you control.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be the egg tokens.
No, could be, but
Could you, if I were to do that, would I be attacking someone with an egg?
You can't, because the eggs have defender.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this has daybound, so it says if a player casts no spells during their own turn, so if anyone doesn't play a spell during their turn, it becomes night, and that means that
you flip it around.
You flip it around into Hollowhenge Huntmaster, which says hexproof, so it protects itself. Other permanents you control have hexproof, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, you put 2+1 counters on each creature you control.
Okay.
So that's each creature. So all your eggs, all your creatures.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
and it's just a big guy, so that's also good.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're getting into we want to kill our opponents in one turn territory. Avatar of Slaughter. So not really cute, I know. Couldn't get all the cute ones, of course.
Makes sense.
It's 8 mana, so usually, again, you don't really play these. 6 mana is usually the biggest creature someone plays. But this one says, all creatures have double strike and attack each combat if able. So your opponents as well. So that's a little bit dangerous. But we play around that because we have a lot of eggs that protect us. So we don't really mind if our opponents attack us too much.
Because they're just...
So it's a little bit
kind of
dangerous.
like with
but
Medusa.
we get to attack first.
Yeah, but it's kind of like with Medusa, right? So you kind of like chop off one of the like the snake's head, you know, and then 3 grow back.
Yeah, if someone kills your egg.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
just
we
gonna
don't
kill another
mind.
creature. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Exactly. So we don't mind if people attack us too much. But this is a dangerous one, but I thought it was really fun to play with, and you don't really get to play cards like this. Oh. Then we have Dawn Glade Regent, which just says you become the monarch, and as long as you are the monarch, permanents you control have hexproof. It also is just a big creature again, of course. But monarch means that you get to draw an extra card at the end of your turn. But if someone deals damage to you, you lose the monarch ability. So it is a little bit dangerous still, but you do get to protect your creatures, which is very important here, sometimes.
I think this is one that was in my
Atali.
opinion, right?
Yeah, you chose Atali yourself as well, and I thought it was a good creature here.
Just not
Usually
very cute.
people don't really play it because it is 6 mana, so that's already a lot. But whenever it attacks, you get to exile the top card of each player's library, so also your own. Then you may cast any number of spells without paying their mana costs. So you like that in your own deck, because you have a lot of big creatures you could play. But you could also cast any number of cards from your opponents for free there. Then we have Galta and Mavren.
I like that one.
Yeah, 7 mana for 12/12 with trample, so you can easily win here. And then I think the most important part is whenever you attack with it, you get to create a tapped and attacking dinosaur creature token with trample again, where X is the greatest power among other attacking creatures.
Okay.
And you have a lot of big attacking creatures. We saw 8 before, for example, so we get to make a lot of big dinosaurs here. Then we have Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight, 7 mana. But she says, if a source would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals double that damage to that player or permanent instead. So your opponent's it again as well. But doubling your power, and especially if you do it with multiple permanents, that is very strong, of course. If a source would deal damage to you, you prevent half the damage, so you are protected as well. Then we have the Pteranodon. This is the elephant in the room. When it enters, you destroy up to 3 target non-creature permanents. So you get to destroy a lot of permanents, and for each permanent put into the graveyard this way, its controller creates a 3/3. But you get to destroy a lot of important permanents, and you have a big creature of your own.
Cool.
Could also be your own permanents if you don't care about them. So your mana rocks, you can destroy them and make 3/3s as well.
Nice.
Then we have an interesting one, Towering Titan, which is 6 mana.
She seems like really familiar. Was she on my list too?
I don't know
I think
about
she's
this
cool.
one. But she enters with +1 counters where X is the total amount of toughness from other creatures you control. But I thought the most fun part is sacrifice a creature with Defender. All creatures gain trample until end of turn.
Oh, okay.
And your eggs have Defender, so you can immediately sacrifice an egg to give everything trample.
Big brain.
Yeah, and then we have another kicker, which is Sakama Primal Calamity for 9 mana. But when it ends the battlefield, you get to untap all the lands you control. So it's essentially free. Girl math. And then it's a 9/9 with Vigilance, so it doesn't have to tap when it attacks. And Trample, which means that it gets to pull through with its damage. And then it has 3 abilities that all cost 3 mana. Deal 3 damage to target creature, destroy an artifact or enchantment, or you gain 3 life, so you can always use that. It's a big mana sink that you can use aside from your commander, of course. Yeah, the last most important theme of this deck is the Sacrifice the Eggs theme, or the Sac Egg theme. We've already noted the Skull Clamp. This was an idea of yours. Very well done. It's a good equipment that when you put it on an egg, it instantly cracks. And you get to draw 2 cards from the Skull Clamp, and you get your activation of the egg. So that's a really strong one. But we want a bunch of effects like this. So we have 7 in this deck.
Okay.
We also have Goblin Bombardment. This is an enchantment, so you put it on the battlefield first, and then at any moment you could react like an instant. Like with an instant, you can sacrifice a creature, like an egg, to deal 1 damage to any target. Can be a creature, can be an opponent. So all your eggs will be valuable, and you also get to use the effect from your eggs again.
Mm-hmm.
The same goes for almost all of these. So you have Fanatical Devotion, does the same, but this time you can regenerate a creature.
Can I? So it says sacrifice a creature and then regenerate target creature. So I can sacrifice 1 to save another.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So regenerating is a bit more complicated, but we'll get into that. But the most important part is that you can sacrifice them immediately.
Mm-hmm. And a Chitter Splitter.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. We have Ashnod's Altar, which does the same. So it says sacrifice a creature to add to colorless mana.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Chitter Splitter is another way to sacrifice your eggs, and I thought it was cute, so it fits your theme.
That's so cute.
It says at the beginning of your upkeep you may sacrifice a token, and your eggs are tokens as well. If you do, you put an acorn counter on Chitter Splitter. And squirrels you control get +1/+1 for each acorn counter, and then for 1 mana you can create a new squirrel token. That will grow with every egg that you feed them, basically. Bit cruel, but... Calling Days is also sacrificing your creatures. So sacrifice a creature to put a counter on it, and then later for 1 mana you can sacrifice the Culling Days to get cards equal to the amount of counters on the days.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the piece De Resistance is Evolutionary Leap.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 2 mana enchantment where for 1 green mana you can sacrifice a creature to reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. So this basically means you sacrifice an egg, you reveal cards from the top of your library, get a creature card into your hand, then reveal cards from the top of your library for your next creature and put it onto the battlefield. So it's basically doubling your activation.
So basically 2 for the price of 1, almost.
Yeah, almost, because one of them is in your hand and the other is on the battlefield, but it's still a powerful effect here. Yeah, so that is all the sacrifice egg themes. So we have in total 3 themes. We have making eggs, we have sacrificing the eggs, and then we have getting big creatures onto the battlefield from the eggs. That's how the whole of your deck works.
Awesome. Sounds good.